Sixth grade, welcome to your math test. At the top, you got adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing mixed numbers. We've done this 10 or 15 times now. Remember, when you add and subtract them, you got to have common denominators. When you multiply them, you got to make them improper. Multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms, and reduce. And then when it's division, you have to stay, change, flip. Okay, your challenge problem reads like this. 1 foot square tiles are packed 20 per box. They will be used to cover the floor of a rectangular room. The room is 20 feet 6 inches by 14 feet 6 inches. If all cut out portions of the tile can be used, how many boxes of tiles are needed? Okay, then it says if only one portion of each cut tile may be used, how many boxes are needed? Guys, I'm going to make that a step easier for you. I'm going to take this thing and we're just going to cross out that question. It tries to make it one step harder. It doesn't need to be. Okay, so here's what I'd do if I was a sixth grader. I would know that 6 inches is a half a foot. So I'm going to switch this to 20.5. I'm going to switch this to 14.5. If I want the area of the room, guys, I have to take 20.5 times 20.5 times 14.5. And we'll get an answer. And then I'm going to round that number up to a number that's divisible by 20. Because what you're going to do when we multiply that, guys, that's going to tell you how many square feet it is. But you're buying boxes, and each box contains 20 square feet. So once you get your answer, round up a little bit, and then divide by 20. Once you divide by 20, that's the number of boxes you need. That's the answer. I'll give you a hint. Your answer will be in the teens. Somewhere between 13 and 19 boxes needed. Make sure you slide your decimal point after you multiply. 1, 2, 1, 2. You have extra credit. If I was a sixth grader, I would take 750 in the box, 500 outside the box. Give myself an answer. Number 2, I would start at 31. I would subtract 40. 31 is on top. 40 is on the bottom. Yes, your answer will be negative. And number 3, I would put 1,260 in the box. I would put 210 outside the box. I would cross off a 0 inside. I'd cross out a 0 outside. I'd do 21 into 126. It'll go evenly. That's how much it cost. Your test runs like this. Pedro raced 96 kilometers from Pearland to Medford, and then he idled back. So guys, he went there and back. Step 1, double the distance. He went there 96 kilometers. He came back 96 kilometers. So 96 times 2 divided by 8. The ratio of dogs to cats in the neighborhood was 3 to 7. If there's a total, so you need a 3 by 2, 3 to 7, add it together. You have the 210 at the bottom for the total, and they want to know how many cats, so you can cross off the dogs, but make sure you add them together. Number 3, it says, using a tape measure, Becky Joe found that the circumference of the Great Redwood was 300 centimeters. So she measured around the tree. It was, I said 3, I'm sorry, it was 900 centimeters. She estimated that the diameter was 300 centimeters. Was her estimate too little or too big? So was it a little too large or was it a little too small? Why? Okay, guys, so if I'm going to try to figure out what circumference is, I divide by pi. Pi is 3.14. So if I was going to take 900 and divide it by 3.14, would my answer be more than this or less than this? Now let's say it's more than this. Let's say the answer was 315 when I did the division. Then her estimate was a little too small because she said 300. If I divided 900 by 3.14 and got 250, then her estimate was a little too large. Now I hope you can instantly in your head say, 900 divided by 3 is 300. So if pi is 3.14, that means the actual answer is going to be a little less than 300, which means her estimate is a little too large. You have to give me the reason why. Pistachios were priced at $3 for $6.99. What was the price per pound? Step 1, divide. Inside the box, outside the box. Step 2, take your answer for A and slide your decimal right 1 time. Number 5, if the product of 6/10 and 3/10 is subtracted from the sum of 2/10 and 4/10, what's the difference? So step 1, multiply 6/10 times 3/10. Feel free to leave that as a fraction or feel free to put it as a decimal. Step 2, add 2/10 and 4/10. And then remember, guys, this sum is on top, the product is on the bottom, and then you subtract them. So don't get them backwards. 3/5 of the baker's 60 cookies were chocolate. How many of the cookies were chocolate? I do 3/5 of 60. Divide by my denominator, take that answer, multiply it by your numerator. What percent were not chocolate? So I need to know what 3/5 was as a percent, and then you want to subtract that from 100 because you want the not chocolate. Vertices are corners, so make sure you count how many corners on a cube, not just how many you see, but how many there actually are. Find the volume. I would multiply them all together. Number 8, circumference. Remember, guys, when you do circumference, you need diameter. They gave you radius here. So make sure you know what to do to switch from radius to diameter, and then just leave pi alone. So after I get my diameter, it's that number, pi centimeters. This one, they gave you the diameter, it's that times that, millimeters. Backside. Remember, you have a 2-digit number, so you need to know what to do with your exponents. Are you adding 1 or are you subtracting 1? And then be careful because one time they give you a -1 and one time they give you a +1. What's the area of the right triangle? Guys, this is the right triangle up here. This is not a right triangle. This is an obtuse triangle. I know they have a right thing down here, but that's just showing you the dotted line. So your right triangle is this top thing. They gave you 3 numbers, 30, 40, and 50. You only need 2 of those. Base times height divided by 2. Then they ask you what's the area of the isosceles triangles. Guys, this is the isosceles triangle. It's a 50, it's a 50, and it's a, they didn't even give me this one because it's not on the line, but this is my isosceles down here. Once again, base times height divided by 2. Now this one I think is easier because they gave you the dotted line and the one it runs into. Don't forget to divide by 2. Stick your numbers, multiply them, subtract them, and then subtract your 2 answers. I would switch to 1/4. I'd take that number and divide by 4. Top in, bottom out. 1 in the box, 8 outside the box would give me my decimal. Right twice would give me a percent. Left twice would switch it to a decimal. Percent means over 100 and reduce it. I would probably divide by 1,000. I would probably, missing something addition, subtract. 42 minus 36. Missing multiplication, I would divide. It'll either be a mixed number or a decimal number, whichever one you prefer. There are no remainders anymore, guys. I have to switch to a decimal, so this becomes 5.25. Be careful, you don't know how to subtract. Add the opposite. Add the opposite. Put all your negatives together, put all your positives together, subtract the 2 answers. Make it improper, put it over 1, multiply them together. Make it improper, stay, change, flip your answer, and then do the multiplication. Alright, best of luck to you. Make sure you do extra credit on the back side so you have extra credit for your test. On this one, you can have your bonus extra credit if you fill in this box. Color it dark so I can't see, so that I can tell you colored it in. Doesn't need to be blacked out that I can't see it. Just needs to be shaded in to say, Mr. Bauer, I watched the video all the way to the end and colored a pretty circle. Have a great one, 6th grade.